Yes, Rick Shaw here. It's still the 29th. We have a beautiful day. We picked up a few clouds and stuff, but we got a little bit of a breeze, slight breeze, and it's nice and warm. We just came back from a big walk and getting toasty. It's getting warm again. This is what I like, sleep at night without a cover. So, but I wanted to talk about some things. The place supposedly is going to open up, so there'll be people coming. Just the jabs as of now. But things to think about when you come here. If you're gonna build a house, there's here, like when they went to do this house, they said, oh, we want to we'll get a termite pest company to come in, and some of these places down here they did that. But the one thing that always worked really good, even in the States and here for termites, get some used motor oil and throw it down around your foundation where it's going in, and that'll take care of any kind of termites or anything like that. They'll stay out from under your house, and it doesn't go anywhere. It stays there, and they don't want nothing to do with it. We did that on our first house. We had a serious, terrible ant problem there. Even the borax wasn't cutting those damn guys down. So when we went to put the parking area in for the Piaggio, we made a gate in the yard and concreted that. Well, before we concreted, we dug down around you might call it the footer of the house, and I dumped in about a gallon of motor oil in there and then spread it all around before they put the concrete in, and that basically wiped that big colony out. And don't forget, get yourself some borax. Right now in our house, we're basically ant-free. Very rarely do we see them now. We got rid of all of them, every different color and everything. So that's one thing. And then for your mosquitoes, depending on where you live, watch out for the neighbors throwing the stupid tires on their roof. That's a big thing here. They love to throw tires on the roof, and we're American food to the mosquitoes. They don't like Filipino food, the mosquitoes, but because they don't bother my wife, but boy, they love me. So you got to watch that. Get yourself a rod and a reel and hook them stupid tires when the neighbors are gone and pull them down. At least cut holes in them so they can't hold water. But another thing we did when I came, I knew about the yellow light bulbs, but if you can see these right here, they faded. And this is like it's almost like a glass plastic, and they faded, so we lost the yellow light. Well, Lazada has them that have the emitter. The lamp, the bulb part of the lamp itself is opaque, and it's like this color, and the emitter is the yellow. So we have those up in there now, and you can see it looks white, and they work really good. Another things you can do, and this is my experience of being here, kitchen stuff, waste of time to bring. If you got an old pot you just love and you got to have it, bring it. But pretty much you can get really nice kitchen stuff here, especially at S&R. You can get Corelle-ware there. You can get super nice silverware. When we came here, we replaced a lot of stuff. I wanted to start out new. We got some really good silverware, pots, pans, and plus you can get a lot of cool stuff from Lazada. When you're buying at Lazada, don't be in a hurry. Put it in your wish list. They'll come back with the percentage off or free shipping, and then put it in your cart, leave it sit in a day or so. They're going to offer you another deal. Oh, this just went on sale or something like that. So don't be in a hurry. You can get fantastic deals there. I always like the kitchen pots that have the rivets for the handles and stuff, not these little screwed on ones. The only reason I have that Oster set in there that's screwed on is because we were at the Walter Mart, and they threw the damn thing 70% off. So I thought, hey, just for the lids, because they'll fit my other pots I got. But we use them. I got them hanging on the doors in there. So I don't particularly like that type because they're spot welded. There's a bracket spot welded on, and then the handle screws into that. The handles break, and you don't get good lids. Everything's cheap about them, but they'll do. They're clad on the bottom with aluminum or something like that, so they're not a soup pot. Another thing don't bother with is any standard tools. Bring your screwdrivers if you want and all that kind of stuff, but when it comes to sockets and wrenches and stuff, you don't bring. I've never used a single standard tool here. Everything is metric, so you'd be better off if they have the set like my set that's here I would have rather it had two sets of metric on either side instead of standard and metric. Number 10's the big one that disappears. That's going to be on everything. So, and you can also buy. There's little stores in here. I picked up some of the coolest tools here, and you can get them on Lazada. But there was a store in our old neighborhood in GMA where you could walk in, and they just had all kinds of these. They're like a socket with a little handle put on them, and cheap, and they're of good quality. So. I bought plenty of them for working on the bikes and stuff. They're nice to have. When I first got here and worked at the bike shop, that's all that guy had for tools, and they're great tools. They're super nice tools for working on stuff. So don't bother with bringing too much stuff. If you want to bring your sockets and torque wrench things and all that kind of stuff, do it. But I've been to motor shops here. I've never seen a torque wrench when if they have to do head work on a car, they put it back together, tighten it down, and they don't do any of that crap here. So another thing when you get here, I know Tim, he's looking at one of them 3-wheel buggies, and probably because his sweetheart. You got to remember the way they drive, though. You still got to shift them almost like a bike. They're like a Vespa start. You squeeze the clutch in, and that's how you shift them. So my wife could never get the hang of it. For us in this area, it's getting service on those. A lot of places will start them. They'll start selling them, and then they'll quit selling them. We had a bunch of them come up around where we lived, where they sold 3 or 4 of them, and then they never got them again. And you got to watch for the service on them. If you get a tricycle, anybody and his brother around here can fix that tricycle, because that's what they got here. But when it comes to these new buggies, no. And the electric ones, that's another thing that, if you're going to get an electric one for inside your development, like a little golf cart thingy, yeah, that's great. But otherwise, just forget those. You try to get them out on the road, they don't go fast enough. And I got some people in the comments saying, I got one, it'll do 50 clip. Yeah. You ain't going to go buy one of those unless you build it yourself. Not here anyway. They sell you these little 12-mile-an-hour pieces of junk. And they do sell them where you don't need the license for them, but that's going to change. That's going to change real soon, where these people are going to have a license. And I don't like the idea that they can't have a license, because some girl smashed into our mirror. She dented the metal all up, broke the mirror all to hell in her little electric buggy, wouldn't give us ID, tried to run from us in her little 12-mile-an-hour buggy, but we got nothing out of the deal. She just boogied and started crying and all this crap. No license, no nothing. So we basically got screwed. You couldn't get a traffic cop to come over, nothing. It was just a horrible mess. And they don't look. This is a main thing when you come here. Filipinos, when they want to go somewhere, they just go. They don't look. They have no self-preservation instincts at all. Their instinct is that you'll hit the brake and swerve and smash into oncoming traffic before you'll hit them. Because if you do hit them, oh my, how are you going to pay? I don't care what you do. It's automatically going to be your fault and it's not just foreigners that get that. It's if you got a car, you're rich and they're not, So I had a buddy that a motorcycle smashed into him. He paid for their hospital bill, paid for their bike, and had to pay $38,000 to fix his own car. And they smashed into him drunk. So, but he was a Filipino guy. So don't think about that. But a lot of the stuff you get here, like if you go to the S&M and you want to do curtains or window treatments for your place, don't waste the money. You can get a local person to make you curtains for half the price, and you can pick out the material. There's a lot of stuff you can do here that make sure when you come here, rent for a while before you build, find a place you want to be, and get to know the people in the area. The best thing is when you first get here, don't get a buggy. Just go on their public transport, whatever. I'm even big, and I still rode on the tricycles. I got to ride out on the back and look around at all the stores. Get out and walk. Find out what they have. And if you got a Filipino sweetie, let her get the prices first. And just remember, 1,000 peso bill is a 20. And the 500's a 10. A 200's $4. A 100's $2. Think of it like that. A 20 peso or 10 peso coin is 20 cents. It's kind of like the quarter almost. And the 20 peso one's 40 peso. It's almost like a 50-cent piece. So think of it like that. Don't be in a big hurry. Don't be in a big hurry when you get here. Spend some time, relax, and enjoy the place. But you'll never, as long as you come here, stay here, visit or whatever, you're never going to know what the government's going to do. They can switch up in the heartbeat on what they're going to do, and throw martial law on maybe. You never know. You don't know what's going to happen in this country. It used to be that they were very pro-American. That, from what I can see, being an American here, that's gone. That is completely gone. They're pro-Chinese now. That's just the way this place turned around and went. And and you just look at it. They can own things. I've seen that. Chinese people can own things here where I can't. They got businesses, they own buildings, they own their own houses, and they say, "Oh, that doesn't happen." Well, I did know a fella too that said you can have anything you want here as long as you can grease the palms. If the guys come here with a lot of money, yeah, But what's going to happen when the government changes? Is that going to disappear? That's why I wouldn't be into any of that stuff. We knew of a guy that came here, American guy, and he brought a lot of guns with him. He did everything he could to bring them in, and they were legal, and he had all his guns in his house. And the main police chief in the area, this colonel, he retired, and a new one came in, and the new one came in, found out about that, immediately went over with his federales and took every one of that man's guns. And that happened right after I got here, and that was a big story in our area. So you try to buy them out and do some backdoor things here like that, and it could turn around and bite you in the butt. Everything's about money here. When you drive, I would recommend. I didn't want to get tinted windows in my car because I want to be able to see. These people tint their windows out so bad that at night they got their high beams on because they can't see. They're blinding you. But if I had to do it over, I would tint the windows just so they can't see me inside. As soon as they see a foreigner, these traffic cops are going to stop you. If the traffic cops stop you and they don't have your book out to write a ticket immediately, they're just looking for a bribe. Okay, so know that. Know that. Pull your cameras out. Stick them in your face. Stand your ground. Because they're just trying to gouge you, and it's acceptable here. They figure, oh, these guys don't make a lot of money, and it's acceptable. Nobody does anything. It's right out in the open, guys. You could drive down the street and see people handing them money. You could, and now it's illegal. They say, oh yeah, you can get in trouble for it, and it's also illegal to give beggars money and all this stuff. But it's done. Is anybody going to do anything? Probably not. It seems, like the police too. When you're in the U.S., they're out there to take your money. They're just tax collectors. They're going to protect and serve you to death. That's what cops do. Here, cops don't bother with a lot of stuff. They may set them up for a road stop or something like that when there's thefts of bikes and stuff where they stop all the motorbikes. They want to see your ORCR and stuff like that. That's fine, and license and stuff like that. A lot of people drive around here without a license. So, that's why they do that. But the cops pretty much, unless they got a roadblock set up there, they're not going to bother. They're not going to bother you. I said this in the video before. I was sitting at my one light where we go to turn left, and there was a cop right in front of me, a paddy wagon with some in the back, and the dude on the right that was going to go straight instead of turning right, he had a cup holder with a red horse sitting in there. And the cops, they're not going to bother with that. Maybe the traffic cops might, I don't know. But there was traffic cops on that corner too, and nobody was bothering the guy, and he was driving down the road drinking a beer. That's it seems like that's not a big deal here. I wouldn't do it, because if you get in an accident and you're sober, just think how bad it would be if they'd say, you're drunk. Oh boy, that could be really, really bad for a foreigner here. I would be very careful of that if I were you. So there's my little sweetie gonna ride her bike. But there's a lot of things that we've done. Anything you can do yourself, I would do it. But also, just know that labor here is incredibly cheap to get somebody to do things. Generally you can get guys to come work pretty cheap. And I know there's some of these sites that are watching these people, but me, I've paid people extra, and then they wind up taking advantage of you or getting lazy or being crappy. You don't want to tip too high. You want to tip like a Filipino, and you want to pay like a Filipino. Because if you start giving a little bit extra, you know, and some of these sites get on there and say, oh, he's got these people working for him, and they're not paying him anything, and they got all this. No, if you start paying them really good, that's when they start screwing you. So you pay them like what their normal rate is, guys. Don't be paying extra. I paid extra, and it bit me in the butt. Another thing, too, when you come here, I don't care if it's your woman's family or what, just don't be a bank. Do not be a bank, because it's gonna go bad. If you do, if somebody in the family, they'll all start crying for everything. They're gonna start, as soon as you get here, they're gonna start crying that, you know, everything went wrong and they gotta have this amount of money, and they're gonna start borrowing money. And guess what? If you do decide to help somebody out, make it a gift. Make it a gift, a one-time gift. Because if you say we're going to do it again, they're not going to pay you back, for one thing. It's not going to happen. They're going to cry the blues for everything, that they need this, or this person needs a kidney, and all. It's all bullcrap. You know, so don't come here and be a bank. That's just going to make animosity between you and your wife's family. I just know. Absolutely not. Now, when we came here, my mother-in-law's house was pretty crappy, so we did a gift of fixing the house up. I let my wife handle it. The brothers did the work, and we bought all the stuff and got her house fixed up pretty nice. That's what you got to do. Don't expect a dime back. Don't, because they're not going to pay you. They're going to say, okay, I'm going to pay you so much every payday. And then they're going to say, well, you know, now I'm going to pay you every other payday. And then pretty soon it goes up to maybe once a year. And then it goes up to once every 10 years. And you're not going to see it. And you're going to get hurt feelings. Trust me. I've been through it. So don't come here and be a bank. Don't give them a dime. Let it be known as soon as you get here that no. It's just 100% no. And if you want to give your sweetie an allowance and she wants to give it away, that's her problem. But you'll find out. She'll stop doing that real quick, because they ain't going to pay her back either. They figure you're rich and they're not going to pay you back. And she'll stop doing it on her own. You don't got to tell her. And then if you say, here's your allowance, here's your $20,000 a month or whatever it is a month, and they want to give it away to their buddies, that's their problem. This is all you get, and you got to set it that way, guys. You have to do it that way, or you're just gonna have nothing but trouble. But lots of things to do here. I hope that this they stop this baloney with going into the stores with the LGU and all that, not being allowed to go into stores without this jab card. They're discriminating, guys. They're absolutely very discriminatory here. You have become, if you don't have a job, you become a second-class citizen. But anybody who comes here, you're going to have it already. But here's what can happen, just like it's happening all over the world. They come up with this baloney language called fully vaccinated. That's the big new buzzword. So you may have got one. You may have got your Johnson & Johnson. You're no good no more if they say you need another one, guys. You're screwed, okay? So know that, too. Know that can change at a moment's notice, and you're coming here for a visit. We're also hearing words, too, that they want to change the what do they call it? Tourist visa. They're making words in the background of tourist visa. It used to be where you come here and you stay for so long, and then you just got to leave the country for a day, turn around and come back. Now they're making it where you can stay for a certain amount of time, then you got to leave for that same amount of time. That's the buzz going on in the background. And can they pull this stuff off? Yeah, because if anybody's going to shoot themselves in the foot, it's going to be the folks running the show here. You know, they need the tourist dollar. They need it. It's a big part of the thing, but they're going to make it so that you can't come in here and spend your money. So I say go elsewhere. You know, there's plenty of other places to go. There's people now anymore that used to love to come here that just screw it. They don't want nothing to do with the place, and I don't blame them. You know, I do not blame them for not wanting to be here, because other countries are a lot more accommodating, even now, even today. You look at some of the people, they're going to Thailand, they're going to all the other places, except here, because of the stuff that's still going on here. And it's been 2 years of them doing the same thing, and they're no better off. You look at the states where they dropped a lot of this stuff a long time ago. The numbers are similar. You know, it's the FLU. It's a thing that happens, but they magically stretched it out to 2 years because of these tests. I just saw a big thing on Telegram. Our power's out, so I wasn't able to transfer it over. I didn't transfer it over right away when I was reading it, but they opened up a PCR test. The guy didn't say where he was, but they were already pre-marked with how many positives on the little sheet. It was a sealed box he opened up. So, you know, they had like so many in the box, and he said 27 were already marked positive, and they were marked so that you knew who you could give the positive to. And then he took some of them and he tested his shelf. He just tested a shelf that came up positive. He tested something in his kitchen, onion or something, that came up positive. He tested his toilet, and that one didn't come up positive. So I guess drink some toilet water before they take your test, and you'll be good. I don't know, but very strange. But I think there's going to be a lot of folks coming if they don't change their mind, which could happen before the 1st of February. Now they're letting the Filipinos in, even if they're not Jabat. They're supposed to be. They're getting rid of these color codings on the countries and all this stuff. So they say. Look on my video from a day or so ago where I put the Jennifer Terry. She spells it out better. We saw it on the news, and but she does a really good job of putting it all down. But she's all flowers and roses, like, you know, this is set in stone. Know this for a fact: nothing in this country is set in stone. They don't put stuff in marble. They do everything real cheap, stickers, you might say, because it's going to change, and it's a lot easier to change a sticker than it is to chisel out something in marble. So just know that when you get here, that's the way it's always been. You know, I've been coming here, my goodness, oh heck, 40. First time I come here was 43 years ago. So, you know, this is what you're gonna see here. So this is Rickshaw out.